Good evening and thanks for joining us on another edition of Point Blank. I am Demola Alalade. On tonight's edition, we're going to be speaking. Sorry about that. Last on the main edition of this program, we brought to you the Executive Governor for your state, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, who spoke extensively on why federalism is. On the reason why federalism can only thrive in a democratic society. Tonight on Point Blank, we're going to be discussing something totally different from governance. We're going to be discussing a very interesting topic that affects many businesses across the world. Those of us who do business always have a tendency to want to move items from one place to another. And so we engage the services of companies that ship, or rather freight, items across shores, either by air or by sea. On tonight's program, I have with me the Chief Executive of an organization that provides cargo service, or rather you call it freighting service, in the UK. That organization is called Worldwide Link. I have with me tonight Mr. Emmanuel Apollo, who is the Chief Executive of that organization. So, Mr. Apollo, thanks for coming on the program tonight. Can you just briefly tell us about cargo business? What exactly does this service, does it entail?
Well, when we talk about cargo, we're talking about more of logistics kind of service whereby we have to move things from one point to another. Comprises of moving things within the country or outside the country. In terms of Worldwide Link, we provide service worldwide from the name it sounds. When we look at logistics, it comes in different form. We have what we call the cargo, what you're talking about, which is the air freight service. That's moving things from one point to another using airline services. Or we also have we have sea freight, that is moving things using sea and using ships. And this is when we talk about moving cars or large
Amounts of goods.
From one country to another. And other forms of logistics is moving things within country by road, that's trucking and even moving smaller vehicles within the country. In terms of cargo, it's a very, very vast business worldwide because people need things within a short period of time. And this is why we have to use the services of airlines around the world.
Okay, I must presume that you guys always, obviously, you face a lot of challenges moving goods across the sea to other countries or other parts of the world. Would you be able to tell us some of those challenges that your organization, that you face when you kind of want to, from the point of sending goods from here or from the UK to other parts of the world, you must kind of face some kind of challenges. Would you be able to tell us some of those challenges that you face?
Thank you, Mr. Lalade. Yeah, we face various challenges, especially when it comes to African countries, due to the customs and other the regulations of different countries in Africa. For instance, Worldwide Link, our main focus is Nigeria. We freight more things. 70% of our freight is going to Nigeria, and you should know this, that 70% of freight that goes into Africa goes to Nigeria due to the population. So with that, you see that so much goes into our country, which I believe that Nigeria's government will have made proper use of those opportunities with the seas and the airport. But that's not the case here because we have a lot of bottleneck coming from the customs and the regulations, and I would say that most of the customs do not even know what the rules and regulations of imports services into Nigeria are. So we face various problems in terms of driving, seizures, and all that. All kinds of headache you have when you take things to Nigeria. For instance, we speak on that because that's our main focus, and we continue to have that problem until the federal government of Nigeria is able to make changes
Do you think, or do you have an idea of how you think the federal government can tackle this problem of all this kind of bottleneck that you face when you kind of take your goods to Nigeria and you have to bribe your way to get the goods out of the port? Do you have any suggestion on how the federal government can deal with this sort of problems?
Until of recent, the federal government, the present regime, have tried doing improving the clearance services in Nigeria. At the moment, they are even talking about 24 hours clearance service. I believe they've done much. There's a lot of improvement within the last 1 year. I believe that the federal government still need to do much in terms of training. The customs need to be trained. They need to be disciplined. They have to have a mode of discipline and control and monitoring team when it comes to bribing at the airports, and it's very risky for the country if the customs can be bribed. All kinds of things come into our country, so if you can pay your way, you can bring anything to the country. Those that can't pay suffer the pain because they haven't got the money to pay for what they're bringing in, and that is the headache we're having. So I believe the federal government still have a lot to do in terms of training and monitoring the customs services.
I'm sure some of our viewers at home will want to know how long does it take, to kind of get your goods from here to Nigeria. Some people say it takes about a week. I see a week, 2 weeks, or a month maybe by sea, or maybe a week by air. Would you be able to just kind of tell us a little bit about that? How long does it take to kind of take a good from the UK, for instance, to Nigeria, and then looking at the time for clearing and everything, like door-to-door service? How long do you think that will take?
For the air freight services, which you call cargo, we say it takes a maximum of 1 week period if we don't have problem with custom clearance. That 1 week period comprises of the airline from the UK freighting those things into Nigeria within 48 hours. But the clearing process takes another 3 days before it can clear. And knowing that during the week, weekends, there is no service in Nigeria. The customs are not on duty on weekends, so we are talking about 5 days, 5 working days. So which is like a week when you put in the weekends.
Is that for the?
That's for the air freight.
For the air freight.
Yeah, for the sea freight, we talk about 3 to 4 weeks period clearing process, shipping, then clearing process and delivery. We should be talking about 4 weeks period.
4 weeks.
4 weeks period.
In whole for the ship.
That's when you're talking about the containers. In terms of vehicles, you'll be talking about 3 weeks.
Okay. In terms of regulations, do you have sort of like a body that looks after all the freighting or the cargo businesses in the UK, or do you have regulations as to how you establish your organization so that people will know that this is an organization that is secure? Because people want to know that they're dealing with a good organization that is reputable for making sure that their goods are properly delivered, are properly handled.
Yeah, my advice is to people is that for you to use an air or sea freight company, you need to verify the setting, the company. You need to know. I've spoken to so many of our customers, they don't even know some agent they've used, they don't even know where their locations are. So if their goods get missing, that's the end. So I think our customers, especially the African and Nigerian customers, should do more in terms of investigating which of the agents they are using. In terms of regulatory bodies, of course there are regulatory bodies, trade regulatory bodies for agents, but that of African agents, most of African agents are not regulated because of the nature of services we create, and many companies don't want to get involved with Africa because of verifications of such services at the other end because of the customs and all the regulations that poses a lot of difficulties in terms of monitoring from this end. So I would say most African countries, African clearing agents are not regulated
in the UK.
In the UK. So I will encourage customers using such services have to make a proper inquiry about those agents.
But how do they make inquiries? Because for instance, if I want to send goods home to Nigeria, for instance, I want to find out about this organization I'm going to be using. Where do I get information about them from?
For instance, you start by checking, is the company registered? Is it registered by company house? If the company is registered by company house, that means there's a company information you can get from company house of that company in terms of directors and the secretary of that company and the registered address. So that is part of what you should look at in using an agent. And secondly, you can also check if they are VAT registered. So these are some of the things you need to look at. A company having such things, I believe they should have a credibility in rendering the service they say they are rendering.
Okay. In terms of storage of people's properties, obviously they want to trust you and they want to leave their goods with you, and they are sure that that goods are properly, that goods are secured wherever they're going to be keeping it. In terms of the storage facilities that you have in your organization, how do you make sure that people's goods are safe?
Well, we have labeling systems because we deal with so many customers and so many large quantities of goods. So we start by labeling. When you bring your things into our storage, we have to label those goods and give you the number of packages there. And stocking is also very important. They are well stocked out.
So that the goods don't get damaged.
They don't get damaged. We prevent them from being damaged also. And I think it has a lot to do with trust. And I believe a reliable and a good agent should be able to render a good service, because customers that have to give you goods believe that you are capable in delivering those goods to their final destination. So we, as for Worldwide Link, we do our best to make sure we satisfy our customers by doing what we say we can do for them.
Okay. In terms of Worldwide Link itself, where do you see this organization in the next couple of years?
Yeah, we've come a long way now, and I would say I thank God for what we've done. I believe, as I said, reliability and integrity is our watchword for the services we are creating, providing for many of our clients. So with that, I believe the sky will never be a limit for us, because we are growing by the day, because people find out that we are reliable and we provide the services professionally. And it's a matter of word services. People keep calling in and say, someone send you to us. So we are growing by the day. I believe we have a big future, a great future ahead of us.
Obviously, I know so many people will be looking up to setting up a company like your one. What advice have you got for people who are aspiring to kind of start a business like your one and any other business in the UK?
Well, as I said on my Facebook page, is the first capital in business is integrity. If you haven't got that, get a job, because a lot of people believe that what you're doing is providing services which they will rely on and they pay for. So if you don't have such level of integrity in terms of air freight or sea freight services, I don't think it's a good business for anybody that haven't created that integrity over the years. So why? Because this integrity you create over the years makes people to believe in your service and they patronize your service. So I will advise that in going into a business, you have to check what is the level of integrity. It's very important in terms of African businesses. We need to build that integrity in our business. People need to believe in what we say we do for them. So that is the first thing you have to look into. They also have to try to have a training, understand what area of business you are going into. You don't just jump into a business. It's not always the money that matters most, it's the knowledge. So try to gain some knowledge in that business, the areas of the field you have chosen to go into. So with that, the courage, the confidence is there in rendering a service and rendering a professional service. Then before you talk about the capital, I will always advise people to start little. I believe the greatest businesses we have around the world started very little.
Start little and then grow big.
And grow big. So you always start little. So that means that whatever you have, the capital you have, it can be very little, but you can build on it. So that is my advice for anyone that wants to aspire to go into business. Don't try to start too big, because you might lose the money. When you start little, you learn a lot along the line.
Starting big, if you start big, you fall immediately.
Fall, exactly. A lot is a risk.
Okay. obviously, you've spoken about where you operate. You send goods to Nigeria. Are you saying you deal with Nigerians alone? You don't go to any other African country?
As I said earlier, a worldwide link. Our
Yeah,
focus,
because that's what the name of your organization
yeah,
says, Worldwide Link.
Exactly.
So I want to know whether you kind of touch into other parts of the world.
When we started Worldwide Link about 5 years ago, the idea is that we're going worldwide, but we had to start somewhere. As I said, starting little. We started with Nigeria, where we are from, so that we can create our services. And we're going to, confidence is growing by the day. Now we're rendering services to Ghana. We have Togolese coming to render our services. We have people from Benin. And we provide services to Asians. At the moment, in the southeast area, Worldwide Link happens to be one of the service points for the DHL. We represent DHL in the whole of Woolwich, Thamesmead, Plumstead, Charlton, Shooters Hill. All those environment uses our service. So that enables us with the help of DHL to create services worldwide, and mostly to the Asians and the Indians using such services. So in terms of United Kingdom, we provide services also around the UK. Yeah. So we believe we'll be branching to other African countries as the year goes by.
In the other African countries that you kind of, provide services to, do you sort of experience the sort of challenges that you face in Nigeria in those other African countries?
Not really, because the volume is quite little. In terms of, if you look at the population ratio with Ghana compared to Nigeria, the population is quite different. So with that, we don't have so much problem with Ghana or Benin Republic. I believe Nigeria is having so much problem because of the population. We have a lot, as I said earlier, 70% of things that goes into Africa go to Nigeria. Now, because of lack of training, we've not been able to handle such vast of things coming to the country. I believe that's why we're having problems.
Okay. So many people who are Nigerians also want to kind of know, because I'm sure you deal with taking vehicles to Nigeria. There are so many people who want to know the age limit of the sort of vehicles you can take into Nigeria. I mean, if I want to send a car, for instance, I want to send a car to Nigeria, I want to know, how the limit that I need to, the age limit of the car that I need to take to Nigeria. Is there anything that has changed from what it used to be in the past?
Until about 2 years ago, the federal government changed it from 10 years to 15 years. That is to say, if you have a vehicle that is 15 years, you can still go into Nigeria, but you should live about six months of grace. That is, we're saying about 14 and a half years period, so that the 6 months you'll be on the safe side in terms of delay with the sea and the freighting and the clearing process. So I would advise that your car should be about maximum of 14 and a half years to get into Nigeria without headache. I think Ghana should be about 8 years.
Okay. How easy is it to get vehicles into Nigeria at the moment? Do you face any, in terms of vehicles and other, goods, so like consumable goods and all other things like that, or perishable goods or whatever? How do you the difference?
Yeah, in terms of vehicle import into Nigeria, it's quite easy compared to when you have containers because of the clearing process is quite different.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of cars, we don't have the custom examination or inspection. In terms of container, you have to go through examination of the goods. Of course, for security reasons, they want to know what kind of goods you are bringing, so we have such delays. For cars, within 2 to 5 days, you should be able to clear your car in Nigeria with the service at the moment.
Okay. In terms of the Nigerian community itself, when you take your goods and the kind of problems you face at the port, would you be able to say that the Nigerian Ports Authority are doing enough to make sure that our ports are secure? Because we have so many people coming in, maybe try to smuggle things into the country. Do you feel that our ports are really secured now?
Of recent, things have really improved in terms of security. If you use Grimade shipping line, I still believe you have 100% security with Grimade. We still have problem with other clearing points in Nigeria because of lack of security. But Grimade have done so much in Nigeria to provide the security that we need for such amount of goods coming to Nigeria. So the federal government is doing a lot to make sure they come up to the level of security that we stop we bring a good change, a positive change for the country.
So you're saying to me now that okay, Nigeria is becoming a safe place for you to kind of take your goods back safely without any problem.
Yeah, we've done so much this year for a lot of people, and I'm very happy with the clients that are very grateful because they can get their things 100% just the way we put in the container. In terms of examination, I think the examination they've improved before they could your goods are messed around with, but today I think they are more careful with how they look at the things we're shipping.
Okay.
So it's much more secure.
Okay. Thanks for coming on the program, Mr. Ahola. Thanks for sharing your views with us, and we really do appreciate your coming on the program. And that's all we're going to have time to take tonight on Point Blank. Join us same time next week when we'll be coming your way with another interesting edition of the program. Till then, my name is Demola Alalade, and I'll see you next week.